supuesto. And I think we're live. So, no sé, o sea, I think English or Spanish. You know, we're always speaking in Spanglish, no?
Como quieras.
Yeah, but let's speak in English.
Are we live right now?
Yes, we are.
How do I put it live in my page?
In your page?
Like, how does it?
You would have to link you would have to link the YouTube.
Okay. Oh, we're live in YouTube.
Yeah, we're live in YouTube.
Pues. Yeah, thank you.
We're live in YouTube. Entonces, I hope this is sounding good. Yeah, we're already live, so
Okay.
welcome. This is the first of many, I hope. I'm just checking out here real quick right now since we don't have anybody to... Okay, yeah, it's good. He's good. We would, what'd you ask me? Oh, yeah, so, hold on. I'm practicing here. I gotta go back to my camera here.
Okay.
Boom, shakalaka. So we're live now. I'm
Okay.
here with a very special guest, really good friend of mine, one of my best friends. I'm so blessed to have. And this is one of many, I'm naming it ASTROCAST. How do you like that name? ASTROCAST.
ASTROCAST.
And we're just...
It sounds like astral cats. Like
Astral cats.
Yeah, like pretty cool cats.
And this is the first one of, I hope, many astrology podcasts, because I love astrology. And I think it's a monumental tool for self-awareness and navigating one's life. We're just going to chit-chat here for a little bit, open conversation with my beautiful friend,
Hi.
Andrea. So, lo que aparezca, whatever shows up on the top right is what's going live.
Okay, cool.
¿Está bien?
Okay, so you're switching it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
so this
switch
is
it
all
here.
like the beginning process of this. Yeah, hi. So what, do I introduce myself?
Please do, Andrea. Introduce yourself.
Hey, so my name is Andrea, and I am from Peru, and I believe in bridging polarities in every aspect, basically, and I love astrology as a tool to help us understand, the unity that is just like within all of us and within all of our archetypes, and like just basically understand like life and how we're navigating life through it, right? And like that can be used for anything. So also I believe in like life cycles and like time cycles, like the way that time has been done in this society, or like the way that we've been perceiving time in the society is not is actually like kind of like shifting us away, which is like King Cook's energy that we were talking about, right? Like, which is like King Cook's or whatever, however you like
King
pronounce.
Cook's?
King Cook's.
King Cook's?
Yeah.
Oh, Quinkunks.
Quinkunks. Yeah, I like, so I would like that pronunciation of that word, but like it's that energy of like the it's a little defaced from like the actual cycles of nature, right? And like we get to reconnect to the cycles of nature, and the way to reconnect to those cycles is through like the tools of astrology and the tools of like understanding the cycles of the sun and the cycles of the moon. So through lunakai, like the cycles of the moon, affect our waters, which are like our emotions, which is basically the moon is very connected to our feminine energy. So like it's just like kind of like a blueprint of like what is happening and what is shifting and what is moving within our feminine energy, with like the way that the moons fall in different astrological signs every archetype, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happens with the sun, and like that's like just keeping track of like the equinoxes and solstices, and that's like what we were doing with Fiesta del Sol, so yeah, it's beautiful to like start kind of like delving more deeply into the astrological archetypes and whatever you want to talk about too, because like that's like
tell me about lunakai, because you mentioned it briefly, but a lot of people that are gonna watch this not necessarily know what lunakai is. I love the name by the way.
Okay, so lunakai, luna means moon in Spanish, and kai means to be in Quechua, so like to be the moon.
Oh, nice.
So, but besides that, it's really beautiful because kai means like so many things in a lot of languages, like in a lot of cultures, and like so kai also means like water, like the waters of the of like the ocean waters. I think it means in Hawaiian.
Okay.
I don't really remember, but it's like very related. Like all of the energies are like super connected, you know. So
And it's your own little personal project too, right?
yeah, so like basically it's starting right now. Like it's it started like the consistent thing that we've been doing has been like women's circles every crescent and waning moon, and but like the main idea is to create a community of like people that are connected to their divine feminine. So regardless of like whatever gender, like just like to create a community of like connection to the divine feminine to like start kind of like collaborating through those energies, and to create a network of that like worldwide. So like initially, like the seed of it was and is and still is, and like it's maintaining to be like the circles that happen every crescent and waning moon, and I can explain more about like each archetype after.
We'll get into that in a moment.
But there's a reason why we meet in crescents and waning moons.
Okay.
And so that's creating like basically like a local community right now in Miami.
Nice.
And new moons, I would like to start like this is more of like a midterm kind of manifestation thing, of like starting that at the beginning of next year, like doing like new moon like Zoom calls so that we can connect like through different spaces, because new moons are more hibernation. So but we can also benefit from community through there, but like through being in our own like little nest space. So like Zoom calls are good for new moon support in a way, and to start every 2 full moons to do mixed circles,
Nice.
and so like to connect to that like feminine energy and stuff like that, which is that one that happened in Palapa
That I was in, yeah,
Exactly.
which was amazing.
That was so beautiful. It was so magical. So like that's the initial thing, but like in this November we're doing like the first retreat for Lunakai, and it's gonna be like it's just like so magical how like just how everything is kind of like setting itself up to be, because like it's basically gonna fall like in the crescent moon in Aquarius, and the crescent moon in Aquarius falls the 11/11/21, which is a portal, and it's gonna fall in like the energetic portal of the sacred valley of the mountains of the Andes Mountains of Cusco.
Yeah.
And like it's just like that's the whole intention for Lunakai, like to create that community, right? And like the seeding, like crescent moon is like the physical, like the concrete seed, like the actual step, like the seeding the community. And like it's actually like it was like all so perfect, because I like didn't even
perfect
plan
alignment
on those dates. Yeah, perfect alignment. So yeah.
And that's those perfect alignments are closely related to those cycles that you're mentioning. I feel very connected to the cycles of life as well, and of the moon. Every new moon, full moon, and the crescent and waning moons, I feel the process of that moon like happening, unfolding, climaxing, and then closing and culminating.
Yes.
And they're all intertwined. All the cycles are intertwined. All the new moons, all the full moons are like...
It's a spiral, It's like a spiral, like the DNA sequence, like it's all the same, like geometrical, shape of like that creates that movement, right? So like we really get to connect to that, and like I know there's been a big kind of like influence on like focusing on like full moons and new moons, which are very very important moons, but the crescent moons and the waning moons are like just as important, like because those are like movement moons, right? So like all
the moon cycles, including like, because like you said, the most famous ones are new moon, full moon is what everybody talks about, but crescent and waning, which I'm personally not super connected to, but I feel very connected to the dark moon, which is like the 2 or 3 days right before the new moon starts, which is, as I understand it, is the most purging time of the cycle.
Exactly, because it's the end of the waning, so like whenever like, and this is like something that like is happening just in general in the world right now, right? Like the end and the beginning of something, like like just like in, so like
the end is the beginning.
exactly, it's the same thing. So like just like you know, like the fractals, of nature. So like just like we have the cells and they have like the same structure of like the whole universe and all those things, the same thing happens with the cycles. So like there is like you know, the cycles of time that we see on Earth right now that we can like grasp onto basically are like the cycles of the moon, which shift every week, you know, which is like a moon week. Like weeks were actually created because of the moon cycles, but like they are a little defaced in this calendar, in this Gregorian calendar. Same thing with like the sun cycles, like a little defaced. So like that's why we like haven't been able to like tap into it, like, you know, because like calendars before used to be circular, like calendars before used to run with like feminine energy, because like time used to come through like that's the whole concept of Saturn, right? Like Saturn, like a lot of people see Saturn as restrictive, but time can actually be like a structure that like holds expansion too, you know, like that's why like we're here in a physical realm. So like whatever, so like that's like a whole thing, right? Like
it's a tangent.
That's like but basically like the same fractals of the cycles, right? So it starts with like the initial fractal of like the moon cycles, like every weekly. Then there's the sun cycles, like every 3 months, and then there's like the yearly cycles, which create the eras, right? And like then there's the era cycles, which are like, you know, like the great years, like, you know what I mean, like
ages.
Like because like each age, like, or each age is 2,160 years, and like each era is like 3 of those ages, which is the same structure of the sun. So like right now what is happening is that we like are literally shifting from like a whole era of like 3 ages, you know, of like darkness, which has been like since like times of like, you know, we can go onto that
the last 6,000 years,
and like exactly like those have been the times of darkness, and like now we are already in the age of Aquarius, which starts on that new era. Like it's not only an age that we're shifting, it's shifting a whole kind of
it's like we're going into
like
spring. It's like we're going into the spring for the galaxy or something like that.
Exactly, we're like shifting like a solar cycle of like the great year of like the eras, like the ages are basically like the months, you know what I mean? Like so, and like that is happening right now, plus like the equinox, like the fall equinox that's happening with the sun, plus the waning moon that just happened right now for this new moon to start, like that happens tomorrow. So like it's just like this has been an extra exponential like purging time, because it's been like
I've been feeling it.
So yeah,
and in a personal level I've been feeling it even more deeply, because Pluto has been for the last 1.5 2 years has been going back and forth on top of my Saturn, my natal Saturn.
And Pluto is a strong one, because like Pluto is like, you know, like connected to like one of those planets that like move like in longer periods of time. So like the planets that move in like longer periods of time, it's like a trailer, it's like a bunker, it's like moving like super slow, you know. So like it's like
I've been feeling like that heavy, for like a couple of years. I've been feeling like my entire life has been like reality, which is Saturn, has been like grinded down. It's multiple passes as Pluto goes back and forth. It's crazy.
And I think that's also related to like the Saturn and Uranus energy, because like that whole, you know, like friction that has been happening like starting last year, I think it was, or something, like, you know, we've seen really so many like quadraturas of like Saturn and like
there's still one more. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
And that exactly,
So I want to know about please explain to me and everybody watching, so I can understand better, the waning and waxing moons, the meaning and the power behind them, and what sort of activities or rituals we should be doing around those.
Okay, so these are like, so these 4 cycles, just as a fractal that I was explaining, are seen everywhere in life, like, right? Like anything that is alive, anything that's in movement has these cycles. We go through these cycles like weekly, monthly, daily, you know, like you can like put it in that. Exactly. It's breathing, crazy. You know, it happens just in general. Like it's like, so like the cycles of the moon start with like the new moon, right? And the new moon is like that kind of Big Bang energy. It's like where the nothingness and everything is at the same time, like source kind of thing, but like also it's like that Aries energy, like that Big Bang energy, but like in order to start that creation in a way, you know, like it, like the archetype that's connected to the new moon is like the sage. So it's like the all-knowing kind of feeling or whatever, right? And like that new moon is connected in women to like our menstrual cycle. Like it actually like when we met, so like that's the reason why these women circles, like that's the reason why Lunakai does these women circles, because like we get to reconnect to the moon through our cycles, because like we have like menstrual cycles that are basically 28 days in average, and the same cycles of the moon. So like we go through our own lunar archetypes within ourselves the moment we start menstruating, which are the same energies that the moon is putting into all the waters on the earth. So like if we are aligned to like the moon's energies, then like we're gonna be menstruating in the new moon. But sometimes we don't, you know.
Yes.
That's why that's a whole other thing, like to talk about, you know, like the whole concept of the whole concept of like the menopause, which is something that's seen like as like oh my god, I got the menopause, I'm old or something in women, because like there's been such a focus on like other things, you know. And like in ancient times, like it was actually seen as like a goal in a way, because like when you go into your menopause, you're like automatically aligned with like the moon cycles already, like you like are shifting with the moon cycles. And when we're in our menstrual cycles, sometimes like we're gonna be having our menstruation in the new moon, sometimes in other, and that also is an energy. That's
and it
like,
shifts
there's
as
a reason why
it shifts throughout time. Also, a menstruation cycle.
It shifts.
Yeah, and I've heard from someone in the past that depending where a woman's menstruation cycle, what phase of the moon it lands, it has a meaning. Exactly. It gives you a particular energy as well.
Exactly. Yeah, this is, you know, like, yeah, like we can basically like talk for like hours on each thing, but like, yeah, it's like, you know, the chemistry of like these things, right? So like, yeah, like obviously it means something super differently, like if you menstruate on like a full moon than if you menstruate on a new moon, or if you menstruate on a waning moon versus there's a reason why you are going through that shift. It's perfect.
Yeah, and it's talking, you know, to you.
And it is the shift that you're actually going through. Like I don't know, like there was a moment where like I was like menstruating on like the full moon, and like actually when I moved here, because like I was like completely in sync with Peru before, like with in the new moon, when I was in Peru I was completely in sync with the new moon, and then like as soon as I came here, like boop, like I started like it was like the full moon, and that's just like it, like those days, like that period for me was like the balancing the dualities, you know. It was a lot like in my life in general, like it was the balancing that like that seeing like that extreme with that extreme and trying to like merge them into like my being or whatever, right? Which is like that whole concept of what's happening there, right? But okay, so like we've been like going in tangents, but basically like
keep up, guys, keep up. Whoever's watching, keep up.
But basically like we get to reconnect as women and as human beings in general with our like feminine energies to the moon cycles, because before, when we were connected to the moon cycles, like women, just because like of the menstruation, how like it was like very directly connected, like there was a very big symbiosis with the earth and the moon, and the women as like the kind of like the vessels to like move that energy. And therefore, since the moon moves the waters, then the moon, like basically the women like would gather, and they would like all kind of bleed at the same time and stuff, like, and like they would know like when is the best time to like crop, to like farm, to crop, to sow, like each different type of plant, you know what I mean? And so they would be the medicine women. So that's why, like, for example, the symbol of the snake, you know, the symbol of the snake is connected to women, but also the symbol of the snake, like if you see the symbol of medicine, like of modern medicine, there's like the snakes, and like that was feminine energy, like initially, you know, and it's been like moved into other things, but like in general, like they used to be the medicine women. So like there's like these 4 archetypes with the moon, right? And like the first one is the new moon. The new moon is connected to our like menstruation, also connected to the sage energy, also connected to the Big Bang energy, connected to like intentioning, but intentioning more like in the etheric realm, not necessarily doing the action, more like okay, this could happen, like I like this is, you know, that's like the creation, the planning of like the dream space of like the creation. And then like after that you go to the crescent moon.
So before we go to the crescent moon and the new moon, what sort of activities or rituals are good to do to kind of like harness that energy?
So the new moon and the waning moon, but the new moon more than anything is like a very internal moon. Like there's like it's a moon where you're supposed to really just connect from within, you know, like so like stay
Plant
home,
seeds.
you know, like be like make your own like little nest, you know, like um the seed, like the physical seed planting, like
Or
makes more
idea.
sense for like crescents
Okay.
in like my point of view, but
Uh-huh.
like in general, yes, there is an intentioning in the new moon, so therefore
More
planting
etheric,
makes
the
sense there, you
intentioning.
know, but it's more of like the, oh, let me get the seed, let me, you know, like make this all be like able to happen
Yeah.
in a way. It's a very intuitive period. It's like a very not really intuitive, like kind of like more like waning one is very intuitive, but like it's intuitive more in the like centeredness of like it's like a very meditative period. It's like a very balanced energy,
Which
you know?
makes sense because the
Like
sun and the moon are together in the sky, so you get
exactly,
both energies at the same time.
exactly. It's like exactly. It's like the point zero, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
balance. Like it's that. So it's something to take advantage of, right? Like to get clarity, like into you know your new
Clarity.
projects
Yes.
basically. Rituals for that, you know, like um, yeah, I guess it's way more like there's not much movement in that end, like space. It's like
Yeah, it's dark.
what's about to create, like, you know, the calm before the storm, like what's about to create the sprout of movement, you know. It's like more of like a meditation, you know, like crystal healing, like just like drinking like one teas, you know, like being like cozy, like making a nest at home, just being within yourself,
Going
like taking this
inward.
time for
Yeah,
yourself.
which is
Also, when you
interesting.
menstruate, like as women, you know, there's like the honoring that you are in your own ceremony too, and like going in within yourself, and like realizing that there's a reason why whatever's flushing out of you is flushing out of you, because that's like something that you've been moving through that month and stuff like that, right? So
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. Like as you're talking, I'm in my mind. I'm connecting all these words together, like clarity, going inward, being cozy, and at the same time, it's new moon, so it's dark outside. It's all it's always fascinating to me how
yeah,
the energy of what is can be seen and perceived in so many ways. You know,
and
going
nature
inward,
too.
it's darkness, is staying in. You know, it's I like that. So more etheric, more, and then the crescent moon is more like the actionable
Yeah,
period of the
exactly.
moon.
So that's when like you already kind of have the clarity on like what the projects are or something. So like the crescent moon is the archetype of like the inner child. Like it's like the archetype of like everything is possible. Like there's no restrictions for anything. You know, like let's like it's like the complete ideation, like boom, creation, like you know, kind of period. Like it's all moving. It's all moving. It's all possible. So like it's a really good time for inspiration. It's a good time to actually like plant the physical seeds. Like it all depends on what type of plants. Like I'm talking like physically plants, not metaphorically, but like also metaphorically, like planting the physical seed means like actually taking the first step. Like I'm planting this. Like it's not like, oh, I'm gonna do this. No, it's like, okay, I'm like, you know,
Doing it.
doing the first step. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and like that whole period of the crescent moon is like the working on that step, like the not the working as like, oh, otherwise, but like really like putting in the energy into the like plant, the watering the seed, that you know, like the like giving it that support for it to grow, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's connected to like the inner child archetype, which is also like in other languages like Leonce, and like it's basically like that, like oh, like you know, like it can all be possible, the dancing, like the spring energy, you know, like the like wow, like the being in nature, and like the, you know, like just like bright eyes, like wow, dreamy, like everything, you know, that kind of energy. Like that's a really good energy for creation and dreams, you know, like and that, because like there's nothing holding you back, like you like believe that everything is possible, so then that's where you can actually act, right? And like
So I'm guessing the best activity or thing to do is to actually actionate, to do an action, what embody the essence of whatever you introspected in the new moon, and actually
exactly,
embodying that and doing it physically.
exactly,
That would be the best thing to do in a
exactly.
crescent moon. Interesting. I don't know. See, like I was saying, I wasn't super connected to the crescent and waning moons. So I'm gonna keep that in mind. because I do feel very intensely the new moons when they happen, and in whatever area house in my natal chart is happening in, and like the one tomorrow, I'm already feeling it, and it's crazy how everything aligns. So tomorrow's new moon, and in about a week will be crescent. It's very interesting because I'm thinking, and it's already aligning. It's like, okay, I'm like, Libra is my third house, communication and environment, and I'm moving out of my house very soon. So it's crazy how everything aligns. Crazy how everything aligns. So
it's beautiful. It's crazy because like we've been doing these circles for like a year already, almost. No, a year already, and like
nice.
It's beautiful because like we've been meeting every 2 weeks, like with these women, you know, like beautiful community, and like everything we've been sharing like is exactly the energy of the moon. Because I don't like in the circles, like I talk about the energy of the moon, but after we do the initial share, it's not to like influence or something, but like then you like always notice that like literally we've all been going through that same thing, you know, and just like our ways of viewing life, but like the same thing basically.
The same energy is available
like,
for everybody.
And yeah, and it's really nice to like notice that you're not alone in those processes, be it a seeding process or like a waning process, you know. And there's been a lot of like focus just in general in spirituality on like the light and the seeding and the intentioning and the, you know, all of those things. But like what about like the shadow and like, you know, the release and like all of that aspect that's like just as important, right, too. And so like there's a lot of the meetings to like celebrate and da-da-da-da, but like what about the meetings to like speak about like, you know, like the things that have been also rough or whatever, you know. And like that's when you so like new moons and full moons, so like now we go into full moons like in a second, but like new moons and full moons like are very like are balanced energies in a way. Like the new moon is like the same as the sun. The full moon is like there's darkness, but the moon is fully lighting the darkness, right? So like it's like they are like complementary opposites in their own balance in a way. And so they're like culmination points. So like this is the culmination of like when after this planted and that, this is when like this is like the summer period. This is when you like get the fruit and like eat it. Like this is like, you know, like when you're like the actually like reaping like the benefits of like what you've done, you know, in a way. And like this is when you're like celebrating and you want to like be and gather together like with community and just celebrate like all that you've done in a way, right? Like it's like summer is not a working time necessarily. It's more of like like having fun,
enjoying,
you know,
celebrating.
Well, I mean, work is fun like if you are doing something you love, but like, you know,
like,
we're
talking metaphorically, so exactly, I get you.
Like, and like so
that
like
Leo
these
energy.
Are culmination energies, like the new moon and the full moon are culmination energies. The moments where like the shifts are happening like in the seeding and in the flushing out like are the waning and the crescent moon. So that's when we benefit most from actually getting together in community, because that's when like, oh my god, I'm like in the peak of this thing and I feel alone and I feel like it's only my process. But then like you're in community and it's like, oh my god, it's like everyone's process,
everyone's going through it in some way.
It's
interesting,
beautiful.
Nice.
And then the waning moon is that, right? It's like then the full moon is like the kind of like the fertility goddess archetype, or that kind of like, you know, mother earth, like abundance, like it's all like plentiful, like, you know, summer kind of energy. That. And then like the waning moon is connected to like the archetype of like the warrior and like the medicine woman and like the you know, the one that goes and faces the shadow, the one that's like, okay, bring it on, like I'm ready for this kind of thing, and like, oh, I'm gonna make medicine out of this, you know, I'm gonna make medicine out of these things, you know. And that, because you go in through that energy, that's how you go in through this into a sage place. Because if you don't go in through with that energy to your shadows, like then how are you gonna get actually the treasures from them, right? It's like, okay, like let me grab the medicine from this, you know, like there's medicine in that. So like so like those are the 4 cycles, and those 4 cycles, like they are in the moons, they are in the suns, they are within us, they are in everything, you know. And it's really good to like understand them, because the more you like are like subject to it and like
or connect to it,
noticing it, you know, then the more you notice it in your like smaller cycles of life too, like, oh, like, oh, I'm feeling okay, so what's the medicine here, like, or whatever, like connect to these archetypes. Oh, I'm actually going through this internal archetype right now, or whatever, right? um so yeah, that's the idea, of
I love
lunakai
it.
in general.
Amazing. Should
Yeah.
write a book about this. I've heard from astrologers, and I think I might have read something online and in books too, that the moon cycle, the complete moon cycle, we could think it's 28 days. I mean, it is 28 days. Again, cycles. There's cycles within cycles.
Exactly.
What do you think
Spirals.
about the 6 month cycle of new moon in one sign,
Yes.
full moon in the same sign? That's like a larger cycle that's completing with that energy.
Yeah.
I feel very connected to that cycle as
Those
well.
are beautiful, because those are really good for like to like really keep. So this is the thing, like this is the thing with time, like, so this is, I mean, how I like do not connect with time here, like,
Yeah.
like just like I clearly don't connect with time here. Like like
Not
getting onto,
Saturnian,
like,
not Saturnian
like,
time.
not like Gregorian calendar time.
Yeah.
But like Saturn like has been so like poor Saturn, you know what I mean? Like Saturn has been like
Poor
so
Saturn.
like, evilized, like
I present to you Andrea Saturn.
like
I'm
exactly,
sorry for
like,
you.
like Saturn like has been like so like like bad talked or whatever, because of like how time is seen in society, but like time actually, like Saturn can be like, that's why Saturn is connected to like like Capricorn, but also it was connected to like kind of like
Boundaries. Like
like those are like there's so many negative connotations into like boundaries and time and like those things, because the Gregorian calendar, because the way that we've been seeing time has been so like strongly like limiting for us in a way. But like if we see time in the cyclical nature, then that's different, because then we can actually expand so much. Then imagine like seeing, this is something I've been saying for like the past, I don't know how many years, like at least like 5 years or 6 years, that I want to create this calendar, right? Like the calendar of actual like cyclical time, because like there's the sun cycles, the moon cycles, and then there's like, that's how like Andean calendars were before Mayan astrology, like Mayan calendars, and like connect like those like all these different ways of viewing time from all these ancestral traditions, and like actually grab and like time.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a great idea. Yeah, my support on that calendar, because I feel like there is so much room for new stuff. As you know, everything, all the old structures are crumbling.
Exactly.
And that includes time structures and calendars. So
which is super.
I encourage you to meterle a eso.
Yeah, no, it's happening soon. It's totally happening soon. Because like all the players like are kind of like there already. Like so like we just get to like the new moon energy of that cycle has already started, so like we get to like that it's coming, the crescent.
I feel you.
The crescent moon is coming. So like, but basically if we start seeing time like that, then we can actually plan ourselves way differently, right? Like we can be like, oh, you know what, like we are these like beings that are like so like connected and spiritual, and like we are like these, where we are one, we are everything, but also we are like these like ants, in the earth, and we are being moved by the earth, we're being moved by the astrological signs, we're being moved by the sun, by the moon, like, and so like there's just a lot of like individualism and like ego in which ego doesn't necessarily have to have a bad connotation, but like there's so much of like in the human experience of like, today I'm gonna be like super productive and I'm gonna work and da-da-da-da. But actually that
it's
day
not really up to you
is like
so much.
a waning moon energy,
yeah,
like asking you to go within, like with like to like start the new moon, and like it's actually in the fall equinox, which is what's happening this week. Like that was not a week to like be like, oh yeah, let me, this past week has been a week for like, whoa, let me see these processes, let me find that minute, like you know what I mean?
It has
like
been,
it's like we've just like been so like delusioned to like be like, okay, today I'm gonna be this, and like without really noticing like what the bigger energies that are kind of like around us, and like if we can grasp those and we can understand those, then imagine planning your year, imagine planning your week with those energies and being like, okay, clearly this is my time to rest, this is my time to create this, because this is like nature's is like literally supporting me in this,
To
So,
have
like,
our balance, yeah. I get into conversations with people at times, talking about destiny and free will. And I always say there's an equal balance. And what you just said really brought that to mind because, like you're saying, today I feel like being super productive. I have so much to do this week, and it's a waning moon, and you're like purging your eye, bawling your eyes out at home, wanting to do things, and then you feel bad because you're not doing the things you want. And the more connected we are to the cycles, the more connected we are to ourselves and the energies available, the more we're able to balance ourselves out and navigate this life, this experience much easier because, man, damn.
Yeah, because we're
It's
part
rough
of it all.
sometimes.
Because we're together. We're literally nature. We are nature. It's like we've divided nature too. It's like, oh, nature and us. Like nature. No, we are. Like
We are it, yes.
like so we move like that too. And like it's like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to talk about all those things. But
So tell me, I want to go back for a second to that 6-month moon cycle.
yeah.
Um,
So that's really good, like as a checkpoint, right? To like see, like like the 6-month cycles kind of relate to like solstice, like.
so let's
solstice
explain it in
energies,
case somebody doesn't know what we're talking about, because people know the 1 month or a 28-day moon cycle.
Because it's the fractals, right? So like you have the fractal of like the 28-day moon cycle, which is basically divided in 4 weeks. But besides that, you have like the cycle of the sign, like the astrological sign has a new moon and a full moon, like that, like kind of like switches like the processes of that astrological sign. So like you can see it as like I'm going through the moon cycle energy, which is already moving in that way with these different astrological signs. And you could also be like, okay, whenever it's a full moon and a new moon, it's like, okay, this new moon, I'm intentioning this new month, but also I can intention the new cycle of this astrological sign that's gonna like be completed in
1 year.
months,
It's gonna culminate.
And like, how do you use that energy? Like, if like for example, it's a new moon, and according to like whatever astrological
For example,
sign,
tomorrow is Libra.
For example,
new moon.
tomorrow is the new moon in Libra. So like Libra is connected to like relationships, partnerships. Partnerships that don't necessarily only have to be like romantic partnerships, but like entrepreneurship, like building your own business partnerships. Libra is also related to like diplomacy. It's related to law, to truth. It's like related to like balance, to like like all of these things. So like like within that theme, like what is it that you want to see? What is it that you want to start moving? Like,
let's do this quick exercise. Let's take tomorrow's new moon in Libra and kind of go through the 4 cycles of the moon, but instead of it being 28 days, being the whole year.
Okay.
So for example, tomorrow is the new moon. So the waning will be, the crescent will be like 3 months from now. So for the next 3 months, we're kind of like etherically introspecting. Crescent doesn't really
fall in Libra necessarily. Like
no, I mean, well, in the big cycle, in the yearly cycle
cycles,
of that,
like in 3 months, that's gonna be.
It will be quote unquote
like energetically within the cycle of Libra, yeah.
Correct. So, in this next 3 months, we're sort of gonna go through an introspection, like you're saying, of etherically putting in our intentions into what kind of relationships we want, how we want our relationships, like you said, to people, places, and things, not just romantic relationships to ourselves.
Yeah, it's like a one-on-one relationship, basically.
So we're gonna be in some way, and there's a lot of, it's a powerful new moon too, because the Mars is right on top of it. So I feel like the next year for everybody in some area of their life, there's gonna be a lot of action when it comes to relationships. A lot of changes also, and a lot of realizations on what needs to change, because Mercury is retrograding in Libra as the new moon is happening, and Mercury is squared Pluto in Capricorn. So it's like realizing this has to change. My relationship to these things has to change. And it's crazy how it's been happening, because Mercury went retrograde about a week and a half ago or so, a week ago. And it went retro exactly square Pluto in Capricorn. So it's like this realization that my relationship to these structures have to change. and it was happening as the moon was waning, as those realizations of like, this cannot go any longer. It's got to stop. And now tomorrow is a new moon. So at least for this next 6 months, there's going to be a lot of changes when it comes to relationships for everybody, depending on what area of your life. For me, it's in my third house because I'm a Leo rising. So it's my environment and the way in which I communicate to the people, places, and things that I'm relating to. It's very interesting. Where's Libra in your chart?
Well, Venus is which is connected to Libra, is like in Gemini.
You have Venus in Gemini? Let me look at your chart here for a moment.
And Libra is Libra.
I got you. You're a Taurus rising. So your Libra is your 6th. So it's your day-to-day.
My daily routine.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense because that's something that's been, like, I haven't seen my chart in a while, actually, you know.
Look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, like the 6th house. Yeah, like the daily like routines. So just like that is something that's like starting to culminate. Like,
so
right
let's apply this. Let's apply this because Capricorn is. Let's apply this to you for a moment. Capricorn is in your 9th. Capricorn is cusp your 9th. So for me, I've been realizing which sort of structures need to change. For me, yes, in my relationships, which relationship structures need to change. That's what I've been realizing this last couple of weeks.
So what happened, like with me, basically, like, is that Capricorn, like in my 9th, like 9th is Sagittarius energy, and like Sagittarius energy is like ideals, like and like philosophies and like big concepts of life. Expansion. And like those big concepts of my life, like things that are like like also Capricorn is at the bones, right? And it's like fundamental.
The structure, yeah.
Like and also it's like the root, you know, like the bones. The bones are like our skeleton. Like it's like it like affects like that deeply, and it's in the 9th, like for me. So like it's very like my foundations are like those ideological like those like philosophies or whatever. The way I view life like as a grander perspective is like deeply embedded in like my structure in a way or something. And that has shifted a lot in this waning moon, and like it's shifted, not really shifted, it's expanded in a way. Like it's like built in from itself, you know what I mean? It's like hasn't like completely like gone like black and white, but basically, you know, also like it's
a process. It doesn't happen overnight.
Well, it basically like kind of has for me in a way. It was very intense, and like a lot of like those ideas like completely lifted, and like when those veils kind of were lifted or whatever, like my daily routine, which is something that like which is a Libra in the 6th house, my relationship to routine, my relationship to like my daily practices and stuff like that, which was something that I had been struggling these past years because those are excuses, but like the thing is like I had been struggling like in those things, and like with that shift in like the Sagittarius, like the 9th house in Capricorn energy, like it allowed me to just like naturally like start flowing differently in the routines. Like I, you know, like Triple Earth like used to have such a thing with like food in general, and now I'm like eating only I had been saying this like as an intention, which is that new moon energy, which is really interesting because like as an intention I was like, now like from now on I get to only eat like if it's gonna nourish myself, like if it's like something that I really like, my body is asking like for nourishment, not necessarily for pleasure or anything like that, like for nourishment, like this is the only way I'm gonna eat now. Like that was like the ideas that were moving like in the new moon, but like it wasn't like put into practice, and like now it's like actually happening, like it's like moving like that. So like that's kind of like my shift with the Libra and all those things that's happening now. But like more generally, more like because it's not really about me and my process that much, like it's more about like how people can apply it, right? Like and how people can apply this process, right? It's like, okay, like what is it, you know, like that like has that you've been holding on to, and this is like something that we were talking about, like because Capricorn holds on, right? Like Capricorn is that like the structure. It's like that related to Saturn, but it's also like the rigidity sometimes, you know. And it's like Like, what are you being like rigid about? Like, what are you holding on to? Like, what are you trying to like attach yourself to that no longer is serving? Because it literally like it moved in the waning moon. Like that aspect moved in the waning moon. So there's something that you're holding on to that's just no longer serving. And like what I was trying, like what I like,
and it's
like
falling off. Like I felt it fall off.
Exactly. Like
recently.
what I was exactly that. Like what I was like talking actually to a friend about, like that, like the moment that this shift happened to me, like the moment was like she was worried about like what's happening in the world right now, and how she like feels a need to talk about it and communicate it, and how she's been like very like with all this in her face, basically those energies, and how like it's been affecting her or whatever. And I was like in my apartment, I was looking at my plant, and like my plant, like, because it's the fall energy, so like the plant had like one leaf that was already dead, but the plant was still giving it life. And that's like what I was telling her, like in eras and in general, like whenever there's shifts, that's why the moment right before the waning moon, you feel it so strong, because of that it's trying to hold on to its cycle. It's like the waning moon, the shadows, whatever, are trying to hold on to their like grip of the cycle right before like it shifts into like clarity or whatever. Like that, it's a strong period. Whenever like eras change or whatever, like the same thing is happening. That's why like the era has already, like the age has already changed to the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is like the bearer of that new era of light. Like it's like starting this new era of light. We already are in the age of light. We already are in light. But it's such an illusion because so many people don't see it, because there's such a strong grasp with like that darkness to try to hold on to like what was, because it's been for like 6,000 years or whatever. So there's such a strong grasp that it's like, like as if you're in a highway, like before you were like driving in the like little road or whatever in the town, and like you don't really connect too much, or like you don't really feel it so strongly, but because their grasp is so strong, you're like in the middle of a highway, like so many cars, like it's like grasping on. So like you feel like there's so much darkness, and you're seeing it and you're imagining it like as if it is. But really, it's that illusion of like that grasping of it. It's like that same thing that happens with that plant that's falling. It's like the plant is like, it's like still feeding, like it's still giving light. It's still giving like life to that leaf that's already dead. The leaf already died. Like the darkness period, the darkness age already died. Yeah. Like and we're still trying to give it like that. There's parts of us. Because that same thing that's happening in the era, there's the same fractals, the same thing is happening within ourselves, within our own personal process. And so there's parts of us that we're still trying to grab on to, like, no, this is how it is, this is how it is. But it's already dead. It's already dead. Like, but we're holding on to something that's dead. We're giving life to a plant that's dead. That's basically what's happening, right? That's what's happening with, like, Capricorn energy in the waning moon, with exactly what you were saying. Like, Capricorn is trying to hold on, like, and attach to something like that, when really it's already dead, And so like now, like that it's already dead, when you realize that it's already dead, then it's like, okay, new moon in Libra. So okay, now with this newness, with this sage energy, with this clarity from like what I learned from detaching myself to that grasp that I've been having, like now, what is it that I'm manifesting, right? And how does that relate to my relationships with others and stuff like that? Or like, however you've been experiencing the Libra archetype in your life, because so many people have been experiencing it.
And depending on what your rising
and
sign
that
is.
You can see it in your, like see it in your chart, like each person can see it in their chart. But then, like, after that, like, then intention that, right? And, like, take those first 3 months as just, like, observation, like an old lady, the sage, like the wise woman, like the elders, like they're like sitting down and just like observing, taking it all in. And they talk only when it's like the truth kind of thing, like that's how the archetype was, like in indigenous times, right? And like that, right? Like, this is happening. I just literally released a grip of something that's already dead. So like, what is happening right now in these next 3 months? Like, what is it like that? Like, where is the like, be open to the clarity. Yeah, like, be open to the clarity. Yeah. Don't try to hold on to a clarity, because, like, it's not a moment to do any action.
It's like acclimating to the new space that has been opened, in a way. Yeah. Yeah, and Mars is right on top of this moon. So it's going to give us that oomph, that strength, that desire, that power to actually shift, completely let go, and start, not completely let go, because the letting go has happened. is happening and will continue to happen because Capricorn, Pluto's in Capricorn for another couple of years. I feel that's when it's really gonna start kicking in. The age of Aquarius is in 2024.
I mean, it already is.
It already is, but like you said, we're still holding on.
If you hold on to that, you know
and
what
I'm
I mean?
speaking collectively.
It's narratives. Like it's like yeah, exactly.
Collectively, there's still a holding on that we're experiencing, and we're experiencing.
And within ourselves too, there's something that we've been holding on to also within our darkness. You know, because like that same thing that's happening in the eras is happening within ourselves, like with that shift, right? But like yeah, like it's whatever you're getting that clarity of intention of, because also Aries is like that spark of light, you know, like that like big bang, like that like explosion, that like new creation light kind of thing.
That sudden
like
burst.
That's like that like ooh, I understand, you know, kind of like energy, like like that kind of like sound. That energy is Aries too.
And
so
with
like,
Mercury retrograde in Libra right now too, it's like I feel like everybody's so aware of what we've been talking about. I hope everybody's super aware, or that a lot of people have a lot of awareness about their own personal lives. But because Mercury is retrograding in Libra too, we're having that. It's a beautiful new moon tomorrow, and Pluto's going direct. It's a major day tomorrow. I'm very excited for tomorrow and this next few weeks, but we're getting that sudden burst to really step into the new relationships or the new ways in which we relate to people, places, and things. It's beautiful energy tomorrow.
Yeah.
Beautiful energy tomorrow. Amazing. Give me 1 second because I forgot to record this. We're live and it's gonna get recorded, but I also like recording it on the side.
Yeah.
You want some water or something?
I'm good. I have some water in my backpack somewhere.
We live. We here. We talking astrology. Janine dropped by and said hi. Aho. Beautiful. Yeah. Amazing. So, when did you,
I think that...
What?
I think that might have been like just a lot of information in general for the first one, so...
It's okay. I think it's perfect because, you know, it's every time is different. Energy is different every time. We're going to have different people here. Yeah, I already have someone for next week.
Nice.
To come join us. Your friend. You telling me about your friend too. Yeah, definitely. And we can plan. Today was more just drop in and talk.
I like the
drop in and talk.
Spontaneity of it, like because that's when things just kind of flow, you know, like that's the whole thing of like the balance between the planning and the flowing, you know. But yeah, like you had a question, I think, right? Or something?
I was gonna ask you, when did you find out about astrology and how did it come into your life?
Astrology in Peru, I read the astral charts. Like I learned how to do that basically in Peru. I took this like really intense 1 year kind of like initiation kind of course thing, which was like 2 or 3 times a week, like from like 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. or something, when we went super deep into like so many aspects and so many subjects, and one of them was astrology. But the thing is that like since everything is, you know, like it was really cool because we went into so many aspects so deeply that I was like able to like bridge in so many of the different ways of viewing things, like Vedic, like you know, like Chinese medicine, like crystals, like chakras, like are like so many different like ways of viewing the world within like and connected to the archetypes of like the astrology too, because it was all happening at the same time. It was like a big.
It all came into your life at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow, intense.
So I got really.
How long ago was that?
That was like in 2000. I don't remember if it was 17 or 18 actually. I think it might 18. I think it was 18.
18.
Yeah.
Nice. Interesting. That's when Pluto. No, it's 2008. I'm sorry. It's when Saturn went into Capricorn, 2018.
But it was such a for sure, like, you know, this has been something I've worked on, you know, for like before, because like it was like such a like, oh, let's get back from where you left off kind of energy, you know, like it was like like yeah, I love it. I love it. And also like in this life, I have like my Mercury in Gemini in the second house. So it's like it's like a usually people that love astrology or that are into astrology have some type of like aspect with Gemini, like that like makes them, because there's a lot of like like I feel like astrologers are like like the scientists of the spirituality. You know what I mean, in a way. Um, but yeah, that's when it started.
Or the meteorologists. It's like energetic forecasts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
about divination. It's about what energies are available,
Yeah.
and what areas of your life are being affected.
And it's how you use it, no? Like, 'cause everything is a tool, and like if you use a tool for like, you know, it depends on the intention and everything, right? Like you can talk about Saturn as like a bad sign or a bad planet, or you can talk about Saturn with like, because everything at the end, it just is. Everything and anything just is. We give it like negative or positive connotations. And so like, what are the connotations that we're choosing to give to this, right? Like if we have karmatic lines in our chart, like those are actually like the like pathways to our treasure. Like that's like what's going to bring basically like, you know, the lessons that are going to bring like this new clarities. Like that's what we came here to learn. Like this is learning is like something that's, you know, there's like, it all depends on how you view it. And like also astrology, like like what are you focusing on, right? Are you focusing on how to like better gauge this present moment, or are you focusing on the future or the past? No, like, because like we are in the present moment. So like I don't necessarily like it's like, yeah, like
So
you can use it for
how do
other
you use
things, you know?
astrology in your personal life?
I just connected to the cycles and connected to myself, like to understanding myself and stuff like that, you know, like in general. But like those archetypes are like apparent everywhere, so I like it used just like as a tool to like understand life, you know, in
Yeah.
general. So,
Aho. Yeah, I use it. I don't necessarily look at astrology and like see what's gonna happen next week, or I actually enjoy it more to use it retrospectively, as in like, or in, like you're saying, in the present moment. I'm like,
mm-hmm.
oh, I feel this way today. What the hell is happening in the sky
Mm-hmm.
energetically? And I look into it, and it helps me understand what I'm going through in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
what I went through last week, and put it together, and it gives me understanding of how to move forward. So I look at astrology usually more retrospectively
Mm-hmm.
than what's happening next week, you know, because
Exactly.
it already happened, so I have a better view on the experience, so I can
Yeah.
understand and draw inferences for, okay, this happened is related to this new moon
Yeah.
in whatever house, this is just energy in this area of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps me navigate that way.
Mm-hmm. And like using your chart, right, like a lot, like to understand yourself, because it's like really interesting, because you can see like it's different when you read someone else's, like I like, so I read astral charts, right, and like it's different when you read someone else's charts versus when you read yours, because like so much clarity, like, and you know, when reading like other people's charts. But then like what I've noticed with my chart is like that I read it once like years ago, and then it's like it means something for me. But then like after some years, it's like, oh my god, this actually means this. Wait, actually
Mm-hmm.
this, like, you know, aspect means this, you know, like, and like it like starts like it's like really like ever expanding, like what each aspect means and what each aspect has to bring to you. And so like if you feel like you're struggling in like some part or some aspect of your chart, then like take advantage of like the cycles of nature, you know, and like take advantage of the fact that, like, I don't know, like good energies to seed something, good energies to like work on something, like our, I don't know, crescent and new moons. Like if like you are struggling with like the, you know, the Libra energy in your chart, then use that moon, you know, and like move it, like use the tools that nature has given you, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, like I so it's interesting because definitely I would say what astrology has helped me most is to understand myself, and it's through looking at my own chart. And over the years, I think astrology came into my life in 2015, but like it didn't start picking up until like 17, around 2017. It really, I was like, started getting books and reading more
Yeah.
into it and looking at my chart a lot more. And since then, in the, let's say it's been like what, 3 4 years in this time period, as time goes by, I look at different planets and aspects in my own personal chart, and I contemplate and I connect to them more, and I understand myself deeper more.
Exactly.
And something happened about a couple years ago where for a few years I thought I was a Libra rising.
Yeah.
But then
The
it
Vedic one
happens
is
that
completely
it
different.
happens well because the time of birth
Mhm.
wasn't my mom, but then my dad is like, no, you were born at 3 p.m., not 7:30, 3:45. And I'm like, what the fuck? My entire life changed per se because no, I'm a Leo rising, and I actually resonate more with Leo rising than Libra rising. So I felt when that happened and I started identifying myself as a Leo rising, things shifted more into place and things started making more sense. And for example, I'm almost a full moon baby. The moon was hours away from being full moon at the time I was born. So looking into that and what that means and how I see myself reflected into the meaning of being a full moon baby.
Yeah.
And most recently, the aspect that I've been really connecting to deeply and understanding and has helped me like unlock things within myself is, I mentioned it to you the other day, the Pluto Lilith conjunction in Scorpio in my fourth house. It's like to the depths of the depths of the depths of the depths of emotion, and it's just darkness, and you know, I don't know how to explain it, but connecting to that, contemplating on the meaning of those planets being conjunct in that house, in that sign, has really helped me get in touch with my deeper aspects of my sexuality, my own darkness, my emotion, my home troubles or problems, or the lineage, because Scorpio is like depth of emotion, and being in my fourth house is like, I don't know, I feel like there's so much happening in my, like it's the roots in a way. Cancer, it's the roots
like
of my life, my emotion, and
like what formed you.
Yeah, contemplating my own chart really gives me like so much depth into understanding myself.
And that's the whole thing with mirrors, and the fact that we're like on a concrete physical earth and we're physical beings, because like we already, like by being physical, get to identify with something. Like already that just happens, right? So like the moment we identify with something, we start mirroring, and like we start learning, and we start experiencing each other, and we start experiencing ourselves within that and stuff like that, right? And so like there was a perfection in you, like seeing yourself as a Libra rising initially, after having to go into Leo, because if you would have seen yourself as a Leo rising initially, then maybe you wouldn't have gone into a more balanced Leo after, you know what I mean? And like at the end, like it's all about what we identify ourselves to. It's what we attach our like bone structures to. That's the whole like Capricorn thing, right? What are we attaching our like fundamental structures to? Like, okay, we identify a lot with Leo rising, we identify whatever, like because our chart, like at the end, like that's the beauty of charts, like it is like the triple webs of like houses, planets, and astrological signs, like merging together to create a oneness, and like 12 12 12, like creating that oneness, and like those 12 archetypes, even though we might have no planets, even when we might have like not like no planets in that house, we still have a house, and the house is still falling on an astrological sign. So it depends on what we want to identify ourselves with, because in general we are all in that oneness balance. So like like it's like, yes, we need to identify ourselves with 1 and 2 and 3, and like that's why the charts are really good to like help us kind of like see those mirrors within, and try to like see why we're mirroring and why we're acting the way that we're acting as human beings and physical creatures or whatever. But then after a while, it's like, wait, I identify with myself with that, but that also with this, and also with this, and also with this, and all.
So we have it all.
Identifying with all the archetypes, and then it's like, okay, yes, we are one. Like therefore I identify with you and you and you and you, because you also have those things, right? And so that's kind of like the process on using like the astral chart to like really move into like other like realms of consciousness, basically. Like that oneness.
We all have all the energies of all the 12 signs. We're all affected by them, and the difference that the planets make. If it's just one planet, if there isn't any planet, it's subtle. It gets more intense when you have a lot of planets in the same sign. But we all experience it all. It's those subtle shifts of the planets, and where the planet is in the sky right now, and how it's talking to my personal chart. you know, because the energy is available for everybody, but everybody's context from here in, it's your own universe, and
You
that
decide.
relationship,
You decide.
you decide to some degree, because if the moon's waning,
Yeah,
you might
but
have
you
to
decide,
purge.
you know, like if the moon is waning, you decide to view it as medicine or as, like, you know what I mean? Like you decide, like whatever is happening, like you can choose how to view it. You know what I mean? Like that is within our power also. Like so, like yes, like there are those definitions, and yes, it's important, and yes, it helps us with the process for sure. But like ultimately, you know, like it's like the energetic like way that we're like facing whatever is coming in our way or in our way or whatever, you know what I mean? Like so, yeah.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me. I'm just gonna touch this, and I'm gonna ask you about something. But like you've been talking about cycles, and like, you know, we've talked about the 28-day moon cycle and the yearly moon cycle of that sign, and like I see it very clearly. I feel it, you know, because I feel very connected to astrology, so it gives me that perception of the fractal concept and this fractal experience, holographic experience of the universe, and I see, like, because it's circular also, it's creating this spiral. It's like flushing down a toilet when you see it like filled down, but it's like,
because down and up is like going the same way anyway. Cause
yeah. Anyways, tomorrow is a new moon, and then 28 days, it's a cycle, and 1 year is a cycle, and then
6 months is a cycle.
6 months, and like all of those are happening at the same time. But not only that, like last month it was a new moon in Virgo. That energy is still spiraling within us, and the one in Leo, and the one in Cancer, and the one like now when the this 100%. Is it this new moon? So yeah, this new moon is the full moon 6 month cycle of the Aries moon, which was powerful. That was a couple days after my birthday. I felt that shit. I got this tattoo and everything. Right?
That's
wow. I'm just connecting that in my mind right now.
Like so Aries.
Like it's culminating. It's so Aries, but I needed this shit. So I got this in the new moon in Aries, and now it's like this energy is culminating. And the last couple of weeks I've been letting go of something, my relationship to something in my life that it just can't go anymore, and it's been a base of this. So all these cycles happening at the same time, it's like no wonder life is so crazy. No wonder life can be so confusing if someone's not connected to the mystery. And I love it. I love every second of that turbulent, energetic, because it may feel turbulent at times, but it's so precise.
But it's like it is super complex. And if you want to delve into like the details of it, of like the fractals of it, like you can go like really deep and like expansive, you know, like you can go wherever you want to go, basically you move. But also it's very simple. Like it's like literally those 4 cycles, just like simplifying it, are everywhere. It doesn't really matter. Like yes, it's super important.
Yeah, it's like
super important for us to reconnect to the cycles of nature. Yes, in this moment even more than ever. Yes, because we're bringing a new age. Yes, and also because like we're like destroying old systems. Yes, but that already is naturally happening within us, whether we know what's happening or we don't. So like, if we just tap into ourselves without not necessarily knowing anything like about what's happening with the cycles, if we tap into ourselves and are like, oh, okay, I'm feeling movement, or I'm feeling clarity, or I'm feeling that's the cycle I'm in. Therefore, that means that the next cycle is going to be this. Therefore, that means it's going to be in movement. That like you're always going to be in movement, and that's how simple it is. Like wherever you are in life, like whatever phase you are, it's going to be in movement. It's a cycle. So like understanding that, right? Like takes away so much weight out of things, and like you know, like
and also understanding how you connect to the cycles and those movements, because not everybody connects to these things in the same way.
It's like about choosing, right? Like that whole thing, right? Like because it's also like unlearning so many things, you know. It's just such a like big like subject, but basically love, right? Connecting through love, you know, in every aspect. So
Uh-huh. So I want to go back to your retreat. I want you to tell me more about it, where people can find out details. When is it gonna be? What you gonna be doing over there?
Oh my God. Um, so this is gonna be the first retreat for Lunakai. It's gonna be a women's retreat, and these are gonna happen like once a year, and but like the mixed retreats are gonna be coming like at some points too. But like right now, basically, the first retreat of Lunakai is gonna happen next month in November, and it's crazy how things have happened because like my rational mind was like, no, use this moon. This is because like I was gonna connect it to a moon,
Mm-hmm.
and I was gonna use another moon. I was like, use this moon, right? But like literally like everything happened so that like the only time available and the only moment that I could have done it and like just so many things was in those times, right? And like so it's gonna be the 9th of October until the 14th, getting there the 9th in the afternoon and leaving the 14th in the day of November.
Uh-huh.
November. Oh, I said October.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I'm like, wow, that's like tomorrow.
Yeah,
Like in 4
that's like
days.
tomorrow.
That's like 4 days.
Yeah, no, 9th to the 14th of November. Well, like it's
9th to the 14th.
Yeah, 9th to the 14th of November, and like 4 full days. 10, 11, 12, and 13 are full days, you know? And like it's really interesting because each day we're gonna go through an archetype. So we're gonna start with like the first day is the day of the archetype of the new moon, and like the activities that are gonna be in that day are gonna be connected to the new moon's energy, and like you know like everything like the whole theme of the day is gonna be that, you know. The second day is gonna be the crescent moon. The third day is gonna be the waning moon, and the fourth day is gonna be the full moon. So like it's really crazy because like it was like all shifted, and the second day, the day that we're like go delving into the crescent moon archetype, is gonna fall the crescent moon in Aquarius.
Wow.
Which is the whole seed energy of like the idea of Lunakai, which is like the like community thing, and it's gonna fall the 11/11/21, and it's gonna be in the Sacred Valley, and so it's just like pure bridge energy, which is like literally like what I came here for, like bridging, you know, those ideas, because like there's like so much like focus on duality, but there's oneness, right? And it's the bridging them that brings in that oneness, right? And like so it's like such a bridge, and so like it was funny because I got the dates and I was like putting the details, and I was like, oh my god, like the crescent moon is falling, da, da, da. And like the next day I get a call because like the retreat will be facilitated like I will be like, you know, teaching about like these archetypes of the moon and stuff, but also like there's this woman from the Queros community that's just like this had been my dream like for years. Like I used to go to Cusco like years and years, and I remember asking people like, hey, how do I get to the Queros community? Like I want to go there, and people would be like, no, like, you know, like people get lost going there. Like I know that some people say that you enter through the jungle, so you don't even enter to the Cusco. Like so many things that were like it was like kind of like a legend,
a mystery,
because the Queros community was like basically completely like completely isolated from civilization for centuries, and like now for ages, and now it's like
beginning
out. And now it's like now there's been a road built, a bridge built to like the nation, the Queros nation, and like that was built 10 years ago. There's 5 nations, and like the last of those nations to have like connection with like the road is the Kiko nation, and that's where this woman is from. And like I went to Peru for like I don't know like a week or so. I went to Cusco for like 3 days, like 3 days. The day I got to Cusco, I met her in the plaza, like and like told her like all of the things that I believe in, and She took me to her community,
wow,
which is like 5,000 meters high, which is 16,400 feet high, like in altitude. It's like 8 hours away from like it's like the road is not really a road. It's like una trocha.
Trail,
it's like,
It's a trail.
And like took me there, and like I met the community, and then we went up the mountain, and like I don't know, it was just super magical. And she is the last of her generation in that community to like be like to carry the spiritual lineage, and she like just she finished her path as a Pampa Misayok, which is like the spiritual leader.
Yeah.
And like she finished her path, and like she called me like right after I was doing these details, because I told her like I wanted her to do the despachos at the beginning and the end.
Wow.
And she called me and she's like, you know what? Yes, this is my path. This is like a spirituality and everything. But like one of the main things my second passion, like the main things I want is like I don't want this to get lost, and I want like people from my generation to like really, you know, like start connecting to it, because like they're all wanting to go to Lima and like da da da, and I was like, oh my god, like what if they come and like connect with us in circle, because like that's the whole thing of bridging, like because we get to connect from equality, we get to connect from like, hey, we're equal, like circular like geometry, like there's so much to talk about that, but like we get to connect with that, you know, and like we get to connect through that equality so that we can actually collaborate in community and create that community. And so it's beautiful because women are coming from Lima, women are coming from Cusco, from the Guerreros community, women are coming from Miami, and that bridge is happening. The seed of community in Aquarius that is happening, the 11-11-21 seed in Aquarius. Like,
for
it's
the future.
Such a strong day and energy and thing that the retreat is like
full
an
alignment.
Excuse in a way, really, for just getting the women together in that space, in that.
It's not an excuse. Is the vehicle? Is the vehicle?
It's the bridge. It's the bridge. Yeah. So yeah, that's and it's gonna be beautiful. And now, we're like, so it's gonna be basically like circles every day. You know, there's gonna be cacao ceremonies and ecstatic dances. There's going to be like workshops on like the moon archetypes and how they connect to our cycles. There's going to be workshops on introductions to astrology. There's going to be, you know, yoga classes in the morning and and at nights. And these yoga classes are going to be made by these wonderful women, you know. Amanda, she's like this, like just been in this like beautiful bridge past of like the shamanic and also like academic like realms or whatever. And like doing the yoga and like medicine music and just like so many other surprises that are gonna happen in that. But like just, yeah, it's gonna be beautiful. So like everyone and anyone that wants to join, like, you know, is invited.
So where can people go to find out more information?
So you can DM the We Are Lunakai page,
which is in the bottom of your screens right now. You can see it there. We Are Lunakai.
And yeah.
And it's in the link is in the description as well. Just wanted to say that.
And like there's like I'm gonna like post also like a flyer of like the main things of that, but like the details, which is like a huge
like a PDF
pamphlet.
Nice.
With like all the details of like what's happening, what you need to do, like the weather, like all these things. Like I can send them to them, you know.
And how to get to Cusco.
Yeah, and also Cusco's an altitude, and like just how to prepare for it, because like it's a high it's an energy. Like being in the mountains is like.
I can only imagine being up there, and in those mountains.
Like because besides like the Sacred Valley in Cusco being like an energetic portal, it also is like the whole like, you know, Kundalini energy and all of that like of the world has shifted to that area, and like the like an energetic base is in the Andes Mountains and is there. And to be experiencing 11-11-21 crescent moon in Aquarius in the energetic base, you know, with bridging women from rural indigenous, city from the Condor area, and city from the Eagle area, like the whole legend of that, like there's so much, you know, it's just so perfect. Like
I'm so happy. Yeah. I'm so happy for you. Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. You're doing a retreat in Cusco. I wish I could go. It's women only. I know it's women only. But I'll tell you what, if not, I'm thinking when you do a mixed retreat,
next year,
because I know it's like you want to do mixed ones as well, and you have, like you were talking earlier, there are specific parts of the cycle that are good for mixed circles.
Exactly.
So if you do a mixed retreat, I would love to go and like record it and like make a little documentary on it.
Yeah.
I think especially if it's up there and like with those people and like interview them. We've talked about this a little bit.
Yeah. That would be beautiful.
I would love to do that. I would so love to do that. Like I'll climb my mountain with all my equipment to document that, because it's powerful.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Powerful. It's gonna happen for sure. Like, it's gonna happen next year. So I'll see you there next year. We'll see
we're going to Cusco. It's funny because I always say, I mean, this is not astrology anymore, but still, when I talk to people, strangers, and somehow we get into this part of the conversation, I always say I feel very connected to Peruvian energy. I don't know what the hell, I don't know what part of my lineage or what, or if it's just like meant to be in this life. I feel very connected to Peru, to the medicines, to to the culture, the Incan culture as well. And I was supposed to be in Peru last year for an ayahuasca retreat, and I couldn't go. And shortly after that, was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. I already, and no, I didn't know you guys yet. And shortly after that,
We met.
I couldn't go because everybody knows the craziness that's been happening in the world, and last year nobody could travel. And then Peru came to me through you, through a bunch of friends. I have so many Peruvian friends now out of nowhere, and so much so, this is how the universe works. I was supposed to go to an Aya retreat. One of the ladies, one of the curanderas from the Shipibo family that run those centers, she came here to do a tour, and it was literally 5 minutes away from my house, and I was able to go to that. How crazy is that? My goodness.
I'm bridging, and that bridge is going to continue to happen because we're meant to bridge, this side of the world with that one, and like just the fact, like the way that this is happening is that there's many people that are born in the U.S., for example, that have had past lives in that, like in those traditions. There's many people that have been born in like South America or in those traditions that have had past life in the US. So that's the merging and the bridging of like the energies, it's like all in balance and all in movement, right? So like there is a calling from the hearts from there to come here. There's a calling from the hearts from there to go there. So like there is that intermix, like that. That's the whole age of Aquarius.
Yeah, that lady, curandera, Maestra Lila, she felt called to come to the U.S. and like do her work here because she feels it's needed.
Exactly. There's a reason why the ghettos have come out of their, like there's a reason for all these things, like, and it's already there, like it's already here. The age of Aquarius is already here, like the shift's already here. You know, it's about whether or not we want to see it or not. Like, are we grasping onto other things or are we seeing it? Like it's here, So, yeah, I'm excited about that one. So
beautiful. And bueno, we've been, just to give you a quick update, we've been at it for like, let me see here, close to 90 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, time flies. So I'm just gonna I want to ask you, I want to touch on you're also doing like day retreats, done a couple of day retreats with some other wonderful ladies.
Yes.
What's up with that?
Well, that's basically to connect to the sun cycles,
Oh,
so
nice.
Lunakai is to connect to the moon cycles. Fiesta del Sol is to connect to the sun cycles. So we're doing like
those are in Homestead?
Fiesta del Sol, which is one day in Homestead in this beautiful place. Just in itself, the place is already healing and a retreat. Like if you just go there, you're already like basically like like most of the job is done. But like it's like in Homestead, and like it's like in every solstice and equinox, right? So we did the first one in the solstice, like summer solstice, and now we did this one for fall equinox.
You guys already did it. Yeah.
We just did it this past
it.
weekend. But the next one is coming, in December.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the new year, really, energy, because like the whole like the new year has been shifted in the Gregorian calendar to the 1st of January, but I celebrate the new year on like
on
summer
winter?
solstice, on winter solstices, because that's when the actual like nature's new year is.
That's the new moon.
And that is like in Peru, that is in like June, and here it is in
December 21st, more or less, give or take. Which this last one was, like, pardon my French, fucking crazy because it was
the fall equinox or the solstice.
The winter solstice, because they had Saturn, Jupiter conjunct.
The winter solstice was strong. I remember.
It's crazy. I was
in
ceremony that night.
Winter solstice in South America, so like I was feeling it as a summer one. So like it was very.
Does that happen to you? That you like are your cycles kind of mixed because you're like from Peru and you travel often
and
there?
I travel there a lot. So like like if I get to like integrate the dualities of it, then I'm gonna celebrate one and the other. Or if I
I don't think I've ever been to the southern hemisphere.
It's time then.
Is Mexico? Mexico is not, right? Mexico is
central.
It's like, well, it's a little bit south of the hemisphere, right? Of the equator.
No,
I don't know. I would have to look at a map.
The equator is like in Ecuador.
Makes sense. Yeah, so it's not. It's still the northern hemisphere. Mm-hmm. Wow, I've never in my life been to the southern hemisphere of this planet. That's crazy.
Yeah, you have to.
I have to. This is I don't know
You
what
get
it
to,
is,
though.
but I feel so called. Peru,
Yeah.
Costa Rica, Guatemala,
Do it
like
next year
everywhere.
for the retreat. But in general, yeah, south is important. There's a lot of medicine in the south. Like there's medicine from the south that gets to be taken. There's medicine from the north. There's medicine from the east. You know, the four directions.
Yeah.
That's also a whole other subject.
A whole other.
But it's basically the same. So.
Beautiful. So.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. How was this? You like it?
I liked it. It was fun.
It was
wow,
fun, right?
like I mean, like these are like such like passions that I could literally talk like my whole life about these things. You know?
I'm gonna get some of this footage. I'm gonna do some clips. Te lo voy a mandar. Of you talking.
Okay.
So you have some stuff. So thank you so much. I mean, I'm not one for big goodbyes because I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we're having another podcast, and Thursday and Friday probably. So things are really kicking in.
Look at you. That's
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna come on camera here. I'm sitting next to you to say goodbye. Wow. Surprise.
Ay, bebé.
So the links on the bottom. We are Lunakai. Go follow that if you're interested in the in that retreat. It's short. It's coming very soon, but it's very interesting.
Yes.
Connecting to ourselves and the moons and stuff.
Join
so.
us. If you feel a calling, for sure you're meant to be there. So.
Links in the description. What are you doing now? You going dancing
going dancing.
kizomba?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like to move the body, dude.
Where is that? I might join you.
You wanna come?
Maybe,
I'm going with
maybe.
Nice.